United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to add one thing before we proceed. I'd like to take a moment to recognize today is 9/11. Let's take a moment of silence. All right. Any changes to the agenda?
There are no, Mr. Mayor. Just for purpose of the record, to note for the video audience that the reports were done underneath the work session.
Okay. Can I have a motion to
approve agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have one presentation. The pulpit is yours.
The pulpit, Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff, thank you for the opportunity. I'm Michael Bauman. I'm the superintendent for Lakeville Area Schools. And before we get started, I couldn't help but notice the displayed and encased colors that are behind the mayor. Sir, is there a story behind that that I could learn about? Yes, sir. Okay.
This was a gift to the community for the citizens of Elko. It was flown over the United States Capitol on May 24th, 1984. Since it substantially predates anybody in this room.
Not me.
We just.
But yeah, I gotcha.
I don't know the history of how it got done.
Okay, understood. Thank you. So I have the pleasure and honor to come to you and talk about our school district a little bit and a capital projects levy renewal, and hopefully cover down on some questions you may have, and then answer any questions that may come from this. There's a couple of very short videos embedded here, so hopefully that'll add to the clarity. I know at least on the first video, the narration is amazing, so you're going to want to listen very closely to that. But let's go ahead and, do you have control of this, Tom? Okay.
I am the person, I know there was detailed instructions that came.
Okay.
I have not read them.
That's
so-
okay. You and I can work through this as we do on many things. So if we could, let's watch a quick video and then we'll move on. Hopefully there's sound. On the TV maybe, I don't know. There you go.
Lakeville Area Schools community. This fall, residents in the Lakeville Area Schools community will vote on whether to renew our school district's capital projects levy. Renewing means there is no new tax increase. This levy was previously approved by voters in 2015, and if approved for renewal, the levy would sustain $4 million annually for the next 10 years to maintain staff and student devices, educational technology infrastructure, and security technology, and continue to invest in career pathways and STEM education opportunities. If voters do not renew the levy, the district will face budget cuts for the 2026-27 school year. These cuts will include delaying device, equipment, and system maintenance, leading to decreased cyber and physical security. Staff positions will also have to be reduced. You can learn about the Maintaining Our Schools, Powering Our Future levy renewal by visiting our website. And don't forget to vote on or before November 4th.
So the voice was great, the echo not so much. I understand technology challenges sometimes get the best of us. But what I want to share with you and what the video is talking about is a renewal. And a renewal is very different than most other levies that we talk about. We're trying to sustain and maintain funding that we received back in 2015, and acknowledging the fact that the voter population has changed over that period of time. So we don't take for granted that, you know, that's something that we just get. We have to earn that. And I think I should have the courtesy to share with you the rest of the story around what that is and be specific about that. One of the things we always do if we are going to pursue any levy opportunities is we go to our community, and the community is defined as those residents within our school district boundaries, and a statistically significant mix of how those residents exist within our community. So not all of our residents that would be property taxpayers have kids in our system. And in fact, the split is about 60-40, where 60% do not have students in our school district. So that's a significant challenge all in and of itself. But we do go and we do get feedback, so I want to share some of that with you, if you would. So we did a very comprehensive community-wide survey, and I just pulled some things that are related to the this particular levy renewal. We did this in the spring of '25. So Morris Leatherman, some of you may be familiar with that organization that does a lot of political polling in the state of Minnesota. They were the ones we went to get this information. And Mr. Leatherman did come to the school board and share the whole thing back in the spring of, or I'm thinking the summertime. But if you're interested in seeing or hearing more about the whole comprehensive survey, you can just, if you let Tom know, I can get you the link that you can watch just that part of the board meeting if that interests you. So 76% of those surveyed say that college and career readiness is either very important or essential, and their perspective on college and career readiness as it applies to how Lakeville area schools conducts that, 84% said it was good or excellent. And I think those are some very good numbers. If you are familiar with surveying, if you're anything in the 50s, you're doing pretty well. So just to give you a little bit of calibration on that. Next, please. 71% say that educational technology is considered to be very important or essential to educating our kids today, and 79% say that educational technology and how we apply that in Lakeville area schools is either good or excellent. Again, I think those are some positive numbers. We are committed to getting better at that and trying to be more and more focused on just academic purpose for that, and I think we're doing a really good job after being back for a year and making some adjustments. I think we're very strong at that. And then the next, when we surveyed the community and asked if the community would support a renewal of the capital projects levy, 85% returned with support for that. And I think one of the key factors, you know, I'm not naive, I think, is the fact that it doesn't represent a tax increase for our communities. But we also am not naive, and I want to be transparent. Yes, we're asking to continue something that was started a decade ago. So nothing is free in this world, correct? So why a levy renewal? State and federal government, you may not know this, we get no federal dollars, and we have no state dollars that fund any kind of technology, and that's any school district in the state of Minnesota. There is no mechanism for that. They consider it capital only because it has infrastructure pieces to it, but there is no funding mechanism. You might have heard of long-term facilities maintenance and the program for that when you're talking about like your brick and mortar buildings and the what I call the guts of those buildings and keeping those maintained. There is funding for that, but there isn't for technology, none. So the challenge we have is how do you operate? Everybody here is sitting with a computer that's probably tapped into an internet, and some of you may use that in other work, lines of work that you do. It's pervasive, and our kids are going to use this. And so they have to be capable if we're going to graduate them from school and have them personally ready for the future workforce. And, a lot of people say, well, if they're in the trades, and I am a big believer in the trades. If you've looked at the trades lately or manufacturing floors lately, highly technical and highly computerized. And I'll even say this, because while I was away for a couple of years, I worked for a couple of companies, and the infiltration of artificial intelligence into some of these systems is growing fast. Not to remove people from work, but to do other things. And if you've ever been in a manufacturing plant with robotics, those all have to be programmed and monitored, and people have to be very smart about the technical aspects of what the work is that's being done, and then how to deal with robotics to do that. So that's the world that we're in, and we are trying to be good about that in the school system. So if it passes, what are we doing, and what is this all about? So if you could go to the next. As I shared in the video, we want to sustain $4 million annually over the next 10 years, and that is to maintain staff and student devices that we have to have in our system based on our current curriculum and the infrastructure support. There's also safety and security, and I'll be a little bit more specific about that in a minute. Some of the technology elements of that that we are trying to sustain. We want to continue to invest in career pathways and our STEM education opportunities. Science, technology, engineering, and math is what STEM stands for. And these are very directed programs. They are very much trades-oriented as well. And we've spent a lot of effort to try to boost that in our secondary part of our school system, which is our middle school through our elementary school. And in fact, with STEM, with this particular levy, we were able to bring STEM into elementary as well, so that we're creating a pathway that starts in elementary, develop interests in both boys and girls to be able to move forward and pursue interests in science, technology, engineering, and math. So we have a very comprehensive and connected system, and we certainly feel maintaining that and growing, especially in the high schools, our trades and our capability in what maybe some of you might used to have known as industrial arts. We want to keep doing that. Our school board is very much interested in that. A couple of conversations I've been having as well is we have a loft over there at the Lakeville Air Facility. I call it an airhead. It's really an airport, I think. But we want to get perhaps a aeronautical / flight instruction, aviation kind of opportunities going. I've been working with a few business leaders over there who expressed interest in trying to help us. Minnetonka has a pretty robust program. When I was in St. Paul, we built one into one of our high schools. We did a meteorology and aviation, and we had a lot of federal dollars, and we were able to get flight simulators and have a pathway for kids to graduate with private pilot's licensures and meteorology technical certifications. A little harder to do in Lakeville because we don't have those federal dollars, but if you have good partnerships with your community leaders, you might be able to carve something out and maybe start small and grow. So I just share that with you. It's a standard classroom. What we were also able to do with the 2015 levy, and what we worked very hard to accomplish, is when I came to the district in 2013, I was not the superintendent, but I'd go into classrooms and you would have a hodgepodge of stuff that there was not an enterprise process to information technology in our school systems, and our teachers were cobbling together whatever they could kind of put together. So one of the initiatives that we wanted to fully employ is have a standard package that served the teacher and served our kids, so that our technology integration was seamless and functional at a high level, and put some things that you would see in the private sector, which are essentially internal control measures, so you're not buying all kinds of different stuff and then asking an information technology department to service it all, and it's very expensive to do that. And I thought, well, that's not a smart idea, and we need to reset ourselves. So we were able to do that. We have a projector, whiteboard, and speakers for instructional purposes in our classroom. We use Apple TV for wireless screen sharing. It's the most efficient and low-cost method to do that. So you don't have to have overheads and different types of systems. I'm sure you're all familiar with that technology. And then we have Apple Classroom, which is real-time student device management. So the teacher has direct control of all of the students that are in his or her charge to do lessons and to do instructional interactive activities. And it makes it very intentional instruction and learning opportunities. It focuses the instruction on instruction so that the kids aren't back there playing, I don't know, Doom or whatever silly games are out there. I'm showing my age probably. They're probably way on to other things. John Madden football, whatever. But we don't want our kids doing that. We want them to be engaged in learning. I was in a classroom just today, and there was this program where the kids are all on it together, and it's asking them questions, educational type questions about, you can pick the subject, and then they're doing two things simultaneously. They're competing to try to answer as many as they can as fast as they can, and they're getting, displays right up on the screen real time. So, and they were just hooting it up, having a great time and doing very well. And I did catch one kid was just hitting the button because he thought if he went faster and he would get lucky enough, he would, win. I said, cease and desist. Here's what you're supposed to be doing. But, that means he's human and he's learning and he's gaming the system. So there is some critical thinking going on there, just not the right direction. Anyway, the other thing, too, is classroom management. I don't know if you all have been in classrooms of late, but obviously if you think about it, it doesn't matter what level, but if you have 25, 30 kids moving around and doing this, that, or the other, classroom management's a challenge, and the technology also helps you do that. I would tell you one of the best things I've seen is we have connected audio connection, so the teacher wears this little thing around his or her neck, and they can be anywhere in the room and they can easily be heard without, I don't know about you guys, but I remember Miss Brown, 5th grade. She would walk in the room and this is what she'd sound like. I'm gonna back away from the microphone a little bit. Settle down, settle down, settle down. That's exactly what she would say. We're in Texas, so a little bit of a twang there, but you don't have to do that, it's like they have all kinds of little games they play, but be able to project your voice in a room without having to raise your voice, I think makes a big difference. So that's one of the other things we've been able to do with this technology. And I got a video here to share a little bit deeper, a little bit more, so you can kind of get a better sense of what that is.
Classroom to support student learning, manage devices, and provide real-time feedback.
At its best, technology brings us together. The fundamentals of teaching of collaboration, critical thinking, investigative learning, inquiry don't change depending on the tools that you have. The tools can augment those basics. They're kind of discovering things for themselves and learning skills like digital literacy. And so that enriches my teaching because I'm giving them the skills that makes them kind of more in the driver's seat of their own learning.
Looking ahead, we aim to continue preparing our students for a future where technology is an integral part of their personal and professional lives.
If you could advance to the next one there, thank you. So this, I wanted to put some numbers here to just give you a sense of the scope of the number of things that we have that fall under this levy. The other thing that we have beyond just the equipment and the infrastructure to support that equipment we do have 5.5 FTEs. They are related to safety and security support for all of these systems to ride on a network that's got the proper level of cybersecurity in it, and also to be able to plan for future capability, handle the apps. I don't know if you're familiar. Obviously, you're familiar with apps that are on, you get through Google Play or through Apple Store or any of those kinds of things. But we have educational apps that we use and our teachers use that are built into the curriculum. And so we have to sustain those as well, and you have to do it in a secure environment. So to do that properly, we do have 5.5 FTEs that are supported and authorized under this particular levy. Can you go to the next chart? So keeping our kids safe online is a big deal. It's a very, very big deal for a lot of reasons, and I don't think I will lose anybody in the idea that safety and security, whether it's physical safety and security or cyber security, is pretty darn important. We have it in our systems for prevention and for response. If we do have incidences, we have to be able to track those and deal with the perpetrators. We want to be able to monitor our systems also for prevention and response. We don't want our kids playing all kinds of silly games and doing all kinds of silly things on their devices, so it's very restricted. We've gone a long way to lock that down in order to make sure that it's educational purpose. And then we also have to vet all of our apps, and vetting is do applications fit our curriculum and instruction? Are they teaching to state standards? Those capabilities we want to retain in our system. So with software and equipment for STEM and career courses, you can see there on the far left, we have laser cutters, we have plasma cutters, things that kids can and would experience in the professional settings. We have some of that is donated, some of that we've purchased with STEM again, or with these levy dollars for STEM. We were able to outfit our entire middle school system so that the interest development at middle school can carry on to high school. We have software and music production contemporary, or what I call state-of-the-art capability that we were able to introduce into our music learning so that kids could learn not just how to play an instrument or sing or those kinds of things, and we have many, many programs, but there's a whole industry of opportunity in music production, and we are able to support that. And then graphic design, I think everybody here probably knows a little more than I do about graphic design, but it's everywhere. And there's great careers for young people to get into with graphic design, and there's different certifications. We also have nursing, a CNA program. We have architecture programs. All these things are supported by this particular levy, and we're not trying to grow them and add new stuff. We just want to keep this going for our kids moving into the future. Security cameras and storage and access control. I don't know, any of you guys go to our schools back, say, 2012, 2010 timeframe? 2000 when I graduated. Okay, 2000. So in 2000, I'm going to bet that anybody at any time could just walk into the school and go around anywhere. When I got to Lakeville schools, I was amazed at the fact that you could just walk into any school. I got a lot of emails from parents, and I wasn't the superintendent, but I was responsible for safety and security in the schools. But I got a lot of emails from parents saying, "I can't believe you can just walk into our schools." And I was in agreement, that's a problem. And it's very challenging for us if in today's environment, and I don't think I have to paint a picture. You don't have to look much past yesterday to understand the threat out there. And here's the other problem, and this is a tough thing to have to say, but whatever's going on in our society, they're targeting schools. Whoever they are, they're targeting our schools. And that's a horrendous thought, but it's also an unfortunate reality. And in my mind, I've done as much as I can do, and I still think there's more to be done. I would love to have an SRO in every school. I would love to have that capability because I think it's one of the strongest things that we can have. But I did put in access control, and then I did work with the board and our community to get our 3D response system, which I think is state-of-the-art capability for protecting our kids. And I will not apologize for wanting that for our students and our staff or any people that come into our system. I don't walk around paranoid, but I live in Reelsville, and I think it's important that we do everything that we can, because I don't want to be the person who wakes up and says, I didn't do everything I could, and be dealing with that incident. It's going to be awful enough, and I've written about this. I've tried to talk to other superintendents about this. I've gone to the legislature. There was a bill that was working its way through the legislature last year. I went and spoke to the committees on it. We cannot do enough. And I look at it as a fire suppression system was looked at back in the 1950s. We can do better. We have the capability to do better. And I'm thankful that our voters gave us the opportunity in 2019 to do that. And I followed through and put the system in every single school. I want to keep it. This is not the 3D response system, but this is the camera system that supports it. This is the access control for the front of every school vestibule, and I just want to maintain that and keep that going. I will say out loud and transparently that if we are unsuccessful at renewing and I have to cut $4 million from the budget, I will have to find somewhere else to go to do that because I can't do it here. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want you to understand that this is important, and having this capability in our school system is vital. It'll have to come from somewhere else that, is probably very important as well. I can tell you we don't run an open throttle, spend as you will school district, very tight and I think efficient. We have a very good budget situation for fiscal year 26. Anything that would happen here would influence fiscal year 27, which we're starting our planning for as soon as the 25 audit is done. But at the end of the day, I feel strongly that we should maintain our safety and security. I know I got an incident going on right now, and I apologize, but hopefully my team can handle it. So physical security, technology support is also part of this levy. Again, no new tax increase. I think that's a good thing to note. And people parse that many different ways because, yes, we increased it in 2015, just trying to sustain it in 2025. That's what we're trying to do here. Next chart. So if it fails, we're going to have to cut the budget, and I'll figure out how to do that. I don't know if you're familiar with school budgets, but the majority of a school budget is for personnel. We're a people-intensive organization. We're the largest employer in Lakeville, and there's no getting around the fact that that's what I'll have to do. I don't want to do that. I hope I can not have to do that, but that's the reality. So sobering, but there it is. This is the one of my favorite things, and you all have to deal with elections as well. The way you have to write a ballot question, I know you know is regulated, but for transparency purposes and the purposes of making sure if people want to know what it looks like, this is, I'm not going to read it to you, but you have the charts here. You can certainly read it. If you have questions, you can send them to me, email. I can do my best to answer them, but it's basically saying we're looking for a renewal of the levy, and are you for it or against it? And then November 4th is Election Day. I think everybody's kind of aware of that. Early voting. I think there's a build there, Tom, if you hit the button. Yeah. September 19th, we will have voting stations up in our district office on Juniper Path. Those will run from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday, up through November 3rd. There is mail-in. Go ahead, build again. Mail-in opportunity, and you can go to isd194.org/voting-info and get more information about how to do that. And then finally, on Election Day, we will have all of our normal polling sites open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. so folks can come in and vote their desire on that day. So, yep. These are the different methods of learning about the levy or getting information. We also have online and frequently asked questions, voting information, and all as much resource as we can provide. If you go to our website and you go to our levy renewal page, there's more stuff there. I know everybody's like, oh, I gotta get there and take a look. I think that's what I have. I am open to your questions.
Can you go back real quick to the actual voting sheet where you do yes or no? I did not get through it fast.
Oh,
enough,
I'm
but
sorry.
Do you have it listed on that there is no tax impact? Do you have that? written
Can't
there?
can't have the wording any other way than it's depicted there by law.
Okay, so these people
I tried.
need to be educated so that they understand, because they're gonna look at that number and be like, no.
Yeah.
So they really need to be educated by everyone to say that there is no tax impact.
Well, there's no tax increase. I don't say impact because, again, this was voted.
It would already been assessed.
Correct. Yep. And with net tax capacity, using the distributive property of math, we know that your NTC would actually, depending on how it plays out, and I probably shouldn't, I'm not going to speculate on what the number is, but in theory, it actually spreads it out and reduces. But I don't have the math to answer how much it reduces. I think you have to know individual property. The other element of all this, too, is you have, when your tax statement and all that is done, as you know, cities and counties can tax. And they all have to be included in that. And so some people understand that. I'm pretty sure everybody in this room understands those three levels or three types of governments, and that they all have taxing authority. So, but I've been at it long enough, over 20 years. Most of the time, levies are for increase in taxes. They just are. Very few times are people doing renewals and staying fast on a renewal. I think Farmington, if you remember last cycle, they did a revoke and replace. That didn't work out for them. That was suggested. I pushed back hard because I don't think that's where our community is right now.
Just a more informational question, you may not know the answer, but do you know what the typical or average percent of the voters with kids in the system, how much actually turn out and vote? I mean, because that's one of the problems we faced here in the schools.
Yeah.
Is only 39% of the actual families voted on the levy last year, and it's just like.
I could probably find out from the last one, and you know, there's always the debates too around what I guess I call them off-cycle elections, right? And we all have to face those challenges because when you need it and has to align with time sequences is one reason. Sometimes, I know some school districts are very deliberate about that. They know, like in a presidential election, no, you don't want to put anything on the ballot, or, you know, there's all kinds of schools of thought on that. I don't know the answer. I know we could probably go back to the last one and find that data. I know that off-cycle is usually a lower percentage. I mean, just because there's not other interests.
With the school of thought of and it might be a smaller percentage, but perhaps likely a higher percentage that vote yes.
Yeah.
Especially correlated with like early voting, are more likely to be voting in favor of something versus whatever.
All you are saying, Mr. Berg, are true. I will say that I do know that data.
It's impressive. I mean, it's cool to see Lakeville leading in so many areas, but the security and technology, we've walked in and toured, you know. Some of
Have
the
you seen it?
The elementary schools, I mean, even I call them panic buttons, but that's not the right word for it.
Yeah.
But, you know, the buttons, the security, like.
We don't call them panic buttons either. You know what we call them? We call them police buttons.
Okay, there you go. Well, and I saw the blue one.
Because we want the police right there with us. And I work a lot with Brad Paulson, and I think this particular school board, they've already expressed interest in increasing SROs. I'll just share with you, an SRO for us, annual, when you throw in the training, salary and benefits and all that, it's $142K a year. We have 3. When I got to the district, we had 2. I was able to secure a third. I wanted 5 at that point in time, but you know, I'll take what I can get. The police department has always been very open and wants to help us, and so we don't get any problem in that area. So I don't know how that'll play out, but the conversations have obviously started again for all the things that are going out, and you see out in the public. Right here in Minnesota too.
I thought it was very impressive. Thank you.
You are very welcome. Mr. Mayor, am I dismissed? All right, well, thank you. Tom, thank you for the invitation, and thank you for your kind attention. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Is anybody here for public comment on anything that's not on the agenda? Public comment. Next is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve consent.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
No public hearing? General business.
Tonight, the council's being asked to approve the final plat and development contract for Highlands at Eagleview. I'll have Renee give a brief overview.
Sure. I do not have a presentation, but we'll just review briefly that the City Council approved a resolution on July 24th approving the preliminary plat. The plat contains 148 new residential lots and replats to existing home sites. This particular phase of the development contains 53 new residential lots and replat of the 2 existing home sites on the west side. Also contains 6 outlots. 3 of those outlots will be conveyed to the city. They contain stormwater ponds. Also included in one of the outlots is 1.2 acres of park dedication that was requested in the central area of the plat. There were 20 conditions that were included in the resolution that you approved for the preliminary plat. All 20 of those conditions have been addressed in either revisions to the construction plans or included in the development contract. Also included, along with the other normal development fees, is a lump sum $200,000 payment to the assessments. This will replace all of the assessments that were previously levied against the property with the New Market School Addition plat, and they have been hanging out there for 15 or 20 years as deferred assessments. So those will be removed from the property, and we will finally be able to close out permanently the 318 bond fund. And we will At the next city council meeting, there are some easements in the underlying plat that unfortunately we didn't get the hearing notice to the newspaper in time, so that will be on the next city council agenda. So tonight you are being asked, however, to approve Resolution 2551, approving the final plat and development contract for the Highlands at Eagleview. There was a pre-construction meeting held today. The developer has begun grading at the site and plans to continue on aggressively with construction, and paving is planned yet this year. Do you have any questions for me or the developer?
I got no questions, just kudos to everybody for hanging in there and working through everything, however long it's been, but, I mean, it's just awesome to see this going, so.
So we just need to make a motion to approve?
Ooh, you need a motion.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I would make a motion to adopt Resolution 25-51.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor, we can go into reports.
Yeah.
Yes. I have nothing specific under administration, unless there's any questions for me.
Seeing none. Anything from Public Works?
Corey didn't have anything in addition to what was in his written report.
Okay. Chief?
I just wanted to thank you for what sounds like will be an approval for us to hire a replacement for Detective Barry and the first additional, if I'm using the right term, officer. Greatly appreciated. Officer Senden is going to be replacing Detective Barry as our new detective. Detective Barry leaves on his last day is on the 18th. You're gonna miss him. Greatly appreciate all the work he put into kind of building up our detective spot to where it is now. Sucks he's going back to North Dakota. I don't know why North Dakota again. But, you know, we will definitely.
It's the beautiful landscape.
It is not, Teddy Roosevelt Park's out there. I've been there. It is beautiful, but there's not much else there. But we will miss him. Just want to let you all know that we are working closely with the school. We always do, but more now than previously because of enunciation. We'll be meeting actually tomorrow to kind of go over more security measures, kind of evacuation plans, things like that. Part of my plan with the detective role going forward is to have them be more of a liaison with the school. Not an SRO, I gotta make that very clear, but more kind of in that general vicinity, just to kind of have a little better cohesion with them. We also got set up with St. Nicholas Church to be an evacuation point. They'll have an after-hours Knox box there where we could get in if there's no staff there, if we needed that as an evacuation point, and a point where parents could go to pick up their kids. So we're working more closely with them to make sure we are better prepared here. So it's kind of part of that plan. That's kind of what we have going on right now, but obviously we're gonna have some staffing challenges ahead of us, being short a person. Kaylee is not a field training yet, so we will have some gaps in coverage. I'm just gonna let you know that now, but we're trying to minimize those. Obviously, an additional officer, you know, whatever we can do will help with those, but just so you're aware, obviously the sheriff covers whenever we're not on still. That's all I have.
Fire, pass anything?
I just got an update the other day from the fire department. They are looking over the next, in September and October, doing their test runs on the CPR program with Niagara, who donated the money to get the program up and going, and with city staff. We have not had a full staff CPR training in years.
In a while?
And so, as we're working through that, I'll be working with the trainers to work through the details of how we're gonna roll it out, how we're gonna promote it, how we're gonna do the registration, setting up program criteria for participation, that kind of stuff, or probably over the next 30 to 45 days. So I would anticipate by the time we hit November, the program will be rolling. I did talk with the Lieutenant Wishner, who's the lead trainer. He indicated that the intent, consistent with our early discussions, it's going to be a little conservative on the rollout to make sure that, you know, it's better to do it right than fast type of deal. So that's moving forward.
You brought up Niagara, and it's kind of tied, but shout out to Mitch and the team there. I reached out to them earlier this week, and they donated 10 cases of water that I brought over to the church in New Prague when they were doing the search for the gentleman that was missing. So he responded to a text and an email right away and had it all ready to go. So just a shout out to them for jumping in and helping.
That's awesome.
Sir, your turn.
Question made its way to me about whether our roads can handle all the truck traffic related to construction, asphalt trucks.
That was me.
I found him after we had
That was
our
me.
meeting.
I just noticed those,
Up some numbers here.
those 5 axles, fully loaded dump trucks. I just questioned
Yep.
residential roads taking that
So
kind of weight.
there are certainly loads someone could imagine that would damage a road. But trucks probably aren't part of it, especially this time of year. If you have a weak road in the springtime when everything's wet and mushy, yeah, break it up. But these are designed for that. You might think of a semi as having the same impact on a road as like 40 cars. One truck, 40 cars. So if we have 100 trucks, that's like 4,000 cars, not an issue. So, if that helps.
Oh, these were, what I brought up was these fully loaded dump trucks.
Yep.
So, yeah. Is that it?
Yep.
All right.
You guys remember Jack?
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Community development.
I would say maybe the only thing is that we're still continuing to see new development inquiries come in, but they're more at the prospecting level. But we are still continuing to get contact in addition to the stuff that's become more concrete, so.
So maybe an update on the hiring process?
Oh, they want to know about the hiring
I
of
would
the
think
senior
maybe they
planner?
would like to know that.
So we did have first round interviews today. Both of our candidates were very solid, but we did have a top candidate that we felt strong enough about that I immediately did second round interview following the first round interview. And we may be in a position as early as tomorrow to make a conditional offer to that
Nice.
individual. And then we will be, but both candidates are very loyal to their current organizations, meaning they don't want to leave them hanging. They both said they'd probably want to give a month's notice to leave. And as you guys know, our philosophy is we'd want them to do the same for us, so we're not gonna complain too hard about that.
All right, anything from Parks?
We did have Parks Commission meeting last night. The primary item that two items that we talked about. One was talking about the possibility of providing temporary portable nets and paddles and stuff available for pickleball. It came back because it's not
Portable?
it's not a high volume inquiry, but Jess continues to get every month a couple inquiries from people that would like us to provide it.
Is it all Josh?
I haven't had anything to do with it for a while.
For a while.
So we asked the question, do you want to pursue it? And if you do, this is what we recommend. The direction from the commission is that no, we're not going to do the portable nets. People should be able to bring their own balls and paddles. But they did want us to revisit the issue of doing seasonally installed sleeved.
Into the ground.
Or apparently there's a version out there that are several hundred pounds so that they just sit there. So we're gonna do some research on that, bring it back to next month's meeting and get some direction on that. The other item was?
The other item was the Wagner Park Trail, which they recommended to continue on with the process.
So it will be, if it's not already, It will be included in the capital outlay for 2026 in the final adopted version of the budget. It would be park dedication funds, of which we have sufficient dollars, so there's no budget impact for the project. The project, in the recommended scope, will be primarily done by in-house resources. So our guys can do the subgrade, grade, fill, compacting. We just have to hire somebody to come and do the asphalt and concrete portions of it.
We meet next week.
Yep. I will be serving on a panel talking about future of fire services from city administrator and small city perspective. Nothing you guys haven't already heard, so. But I would appreciate the support if you showed up online or in person, so.
That's cool.
No. Nope. Meeting is on Monday.
Monday. 35.
Did not meet this month.
Nope. LMC, Metro Cities Policy Committee updates.
Nothing huge. On the 22nd will be the fun conversation with rental licensing, group home, congregate setting stuff, so that's that week.
You said groups on what?
Group home.
Congregate setting, group homes, the police, or the cities that don't appreciate not being able to do rental licensing anymore.
Mm.
That should be interesting to listen to.
All right. Anything else from reports? I think otherwise that concludes. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other general business? Huh? Discussion by council? Any? None? Seeing none? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I'll wait till we ask if there's any further discussion to the adjourn. I'll make a second.
Is that any discussion?
Yeah, well, so just very quickly, I totally forgot, and they would kill me. New Prague Area Schools is going out for a maintenance levy as well. On October 14th, there will be an event at the library for the public to get more information. Superintendent Volmuth will be there. It's October 14th, 6 o'clock, I think. I'll get the flyer and I'll share it with Tom, and then we can.
Superintendent Volmuth will be at our October 9th meeting
Okay.
to give a similar presentation.
Cool.
If I can get those flyers and hang them up at the restaurant.
Anything else? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned?